Hello, and welcome to the Passion on Purpose Leaders on Center Stage podcast. I am Steph, and I'm the owner and creative director at VIM. VIM's mission is to showcase the enthusiasm and passion of business leaders nationwide. I cannot wait to have you listen to the show and stick around. At the end, we talk a little bit about how you can be my next guest. All right, we are back with another episode of the Passion on Purpose Leaders on Center Stage podcast. Already today has been a day, and Haley and I have had a lot of time to get to know each other and go through the fun tech life of 2023.
It's just been a tech glitchy day all around, but I'm so happy to be here, Steph. And it's actually been fun just catching up with you and having a few laughs over the last few minutes.
You know, they always say like the best connection is when you break bread, right? Go to have a meal together. I feel like the new post-COVID, like breaking bread is going through tech issues together.
Absolutely. Maybe Mercury's in retrograde.
Yes, something for sure. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I am so excited. I have Haley with Cutter Luxe Living. She is at Compass, and she is a real estate agent. We're going to dive into all of the things that she is doing with Compass at Cutter Luxe Living. And as we always do, we are going to dive right into my quote unquote heavy or my hard hitting question. Are you ready, Haley?
Let's do this.
All right. What is your why?
Why? What's my passion?
What's your why?
Why do I do what I do?
Do what you do. Yeah.
Wow, you really do just jump right into it.
I told you.
I like to think that I make a difference in people's lives by helping them find a home and a place in this world.
Yeah.
And I love my team. I love showing up at work every single day, the people around me. I would not choose a different career. I'm very, very passionate for real estate.
Yeah. Where does that passion come from?
I think it's a motivation to help others, but as well as just to accomplish, right? To go out in the world every day and come home and feel that you made the world slightly better for someone.
Yeah.
Not changing the world, but slightly better for someone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So one of the me pushing people a little bit and be prepared is I like to take the vehicle of their why out sometimes. And what I mean by that is your vehicle to help others and help others accomplish things. And for you and your team to feel accomplished in the day, you use the vehicle of real estate, buying and selling homes and supporting through that whole process. So if we remove that vehicle, what sort of why and passion are you as Haley, whether it's when you were 3, 10, 13, 15, what sort of things besides real estate were driving you throughout your career and your life?
Sure. So I think it always goes back to the human connection.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that was certainly missing for me, and I'm sure so many others over COVID. So it is so amazing to get back into it every single day, to be out there physically showing, not just having a virtual showing or sitting down at a closing table. We missed those really special lifestyle milestones all over COVID. The attorney's like, don't come, sorry, can't have you.
Mm-hmm.
But the physical connection is just, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm a people person.
Yes. When in your life did you most recognize, either in the moment or in retrospect, that you're like, okay, Haley is a full-blown people person. She needs people in her life. If you think back to a moment, when did that hit you really hard?
High school.
What about high school?
I just wanted to be involved in everything. So if it was sports, cross country running, being a member of the Key Club and giving back within the community, student council, Latin, you name it. I just wanted to be a part of everything. And I don't think that I was the best at everything, but I enjoyed it. So I did it.
Yeah.
And I met so many good people along the way.
Yeah. There's that human connection coming right back in. That's awesome. It's funny. So I say kind of the same thing. I was the vice president of everything. Never president. I never wanted that role.
Me either.
I was vice president. Oh, that's
I was
so funny.
VP, I think, of all my classes, and then executive student council VP, but I was never president. I never ran for president.
Yeah. I just for some reason started with the VP role and then just became, of the student body of the ASB, and then every club I was in. It's just like,
Why not, right?
yeah, that is so awesome. And so after high school, this like human connection, like whether do you feel like in those moments you realized how ingrained that was for you, or did it take you some time in your career to kind of start to have that reflection that human connection is so important to the thing that fuels you to wake up every day and live out your why?
Sure. So I found that while I was in high school, college, or even graduate school for my MBA, you had that human connection. But when I got out into the workforce, it was missing a little bit. So it
Mhm.
took me a little bit of time to find my drive, to find my passion, and to find my people.
Yeah, yeah. And then so you landed with, or you are now with Cutter Lux Living, right? And I know obviously you are ingrained deeply because you are Haley Cutter. So tell me what was the like quick story between the high school days and today, and you're running your own business with Compass?
Yeah, so I didn't fall into real estate overnight. Initially, my background was in advertising. So I worked
Okay.
for a large scale advertising agency in New York City. My account was Gray Worldwide and their Pantene Pro V account, which was super fun.
For
So we were
sure.
doing ads and testimonials with people like Kelly Ripa and Patricia Heaton, and every day was different. So once again, going back to my role in advertising was account management, and account management connects all the dots within the ad agency. So you're chatting with the creative team, you're chatting with the client, you're organizing the film shoot, and not too different from what I do on a day-to-day basis in my real estate career.
I see. Very cool. And so when people come to find you, right, whether on your
Sure.
website, social media, referral, and they're first experiencing the Cutter Lux Living brand, what do you want them to feel?
I want them to feel important. I want them to feel that their voice is heard. As far as what they're looking for, typically how we start a conversation with a prospective buyer or seller, it's getting pretty personal, and we're figuring out what their motivations are. Why are they selling? Sometimes it's a life-changing moment that causes them to buy or sell a new home.
Yeah. Yeah. So this human connection, right? We kind of touched on, and I know I caught you a little off guard with the question because, like you said, not everyone goes right to the jugular in these interviews.
No, I wasn't expecting that, but I welcome it. It's fun.
Yeah, no, you have this is the thing is you have a phenomenal why. You have a phenomenal deep passion for what you do, which what I'm hearing is that it's that human connection, right? And you also have, this deep desire to feel and to help others feel accomplished. And so my question to you is, how do you take this passion? How have you, through the Cutter Lux Living brand, how have you intentionally bled that through internally with your team and externally with the individuals and the families you're serving?
Yeah, so first and foremost with my team, I absolutely love to mentor agents, and I love to learn from agents. So I have agents on my team that the youngest I would say is 22. She just graduated from Suffolk University in Boston last year.
Oh,
Yeah, she had had her real
that's
estate license.
exciting.
I actually, I hope I don't misspeak, but I believe that she got it in her sophomore year. So she'd had it for a few years, total go-getter, knows exactly what she wants, but she's learning. She wrote up her first offer yesterday. So that was
Nice.
so fun to be able to coach and mentor her through that process. And we have a team meeting every Wednesday. And she shared with the team, she was like, I wrote out my first offer. I'm so excited. And that was a milestone for her. So
For
it's
sure.
good to be able to see and to celebrate life's milestones. And then I have team members on my team that are in their 60s, and they've been doing this way longer than I have. And the knowledge that they bring to the team is just so strong. And my team member Marie, anytime if we have a compliance question or really, she's seen it all, and she's always happy to share. So it's absolutely wonderful to be a part of something that is larger than just myself.
I love that. And then what about that same passion? How do you ensure that the families you're working with, whether they're buying or selling a home, are feeling that why, that passion?
Yeah, so we really do try to make it fun. I know real estate can be stressful. They put it right up there on the top 5 stressful events that a family encounters over
Oh,
the course of a lifetime.
I
But,
believe that.
yeah, along the way, we first start off educating a client. If you're looking to purchase in a specific market, making sure that you know differences of neighborhoods, school systems, if that's important to you, tax bases. So really, we take the time up front to get to know our clients so that on the back end, if we catch wind of a property that might never come to market on an MLS, a Zillow, or a Trulia, but we know our client so well, when chatting with another agent, we might say, "Oh my gosh, you know what? Pause. We have the perfect buyer for you." So we are matchmakers through and through.
Mhm. Yeah, that matchmaking. And if you don't have that deeper human connection, then the matchmaking is more transactional. So the fact that your agency has that deeply rooted in internally and externally, like that is truly a point of difference for you in the industry.
We do, and it's interesting because I've never been a professional matchmaker, but I would imagine that if somebody completed a questionnaire, um, it, even if a person was to check every single item on your box, it might not mean that it's a fit. And
Mhm.
similar with real estate, sometimes it doesn't check all the boxes, but it may be the perfect home, um, or vice versa. And I always say too, when a buyer walks into a home, it's visceral. So
Mhm.
it goes back to that emotional connection and if you feel it or not.
Yeah. It's funny. So in my world, we're often talking about how the part of your brain that makes decisions is not the same part of the brain that helps with language. So oftentimes when you have all these facts and figures that align perfectly, and like you said, you can check off all the things I want. It hits facts and figures wise, it is a perfect match. And then you
Right.
walk in and you've probably experienced this where you've had a family just say, you did a great job. It fits what we're looking for, but it just doesn't feel right. And and that feeling, the reason why we say, it just doesn't feel right is because our part of the brain that controls language isn't the same as the part of the brain that controls facts and figures. And so that is just really fascinating to be able to think about how those things don't always perfectly align.
It's true, and it is. It's very, very fascinating. And
And
we
you
see it time and time again.
Yeah, and that the point here with what you bring to the table that's so unique and different is that because you have this deeper human connection, now they're going to lean on you and that relationship that you've cultivated to really help them put together this feeling that they can't put words to on what's the next move. Do we look at more houses? Do we talk about pros and cons? How do you work through those moments with them when they're just on the fence about what to how to take the next steps?
Sure. So I'm never there to force anybody into just any decisions. So I am there to listen, to provide
Yeah.
guidance. And sometimes if there's a deep pause and they have not, if a buyer has not pulled the trigger on putting pen to paper and writing an offer, there's probably a reason. It's just, it may not be the right fit. And once again, going back to it may check all the boxes. So for us, it's never transactional. It's never, oh my goodness, we just want to get this sale. If in my heart of hearts, I feel that a buyer is about to put pen to paper on an offer that's not right for them, we're going to say, hey, why don't you pause? Why don't you really think about this? Plenty of other houses out there. You'll get another opportunity. It's okay to pass on a home.
Mhm. Yeah. And that's huge. That trust to have in you is really vital.
Yeah, and it actually reminds me of a situation earlier on in my real estate career, and we had a buyer with a young family, and they were purchasing a property at Millennium Place, a luxury building right in downtown Boston. And they came in and they pretty much knew what they were looking for. They wanted a 3-bed corner home, but the property that they wanted did not exist on the market at that time. So they were moving forward. They had an accepted offer on a 3-bedroom home, but it wasn't the corner unit. And I just remember getting to the 25th hour and the wife had signed the P&S and the husband hadn't. And I had to say, hey, let's really think about this. I don't think this home is right for you. So that was the appropriate time to walk away from a purchase. Once we had gotten past P&S, at that point, the contract's solid and it would not be appropriate. But they walked away. They lost their $1,000 deposit. But guess what? A few months later, that perfect home came up. They got a great deal and they couldn't have been happier. So it was the right move for them. And I'm not sure. I think if I had just pushed them along, they probably would have ended up in the first three bed. That was not the right fit for them.
Yeah. Do you think some of that power to use that moment to discern whether it was the right decision or not comes from intuition? Is it experience? Is it like where does that come from for you personally?
A combination of both, right? So first and foremost, always trust your intuition. But now that I've experienced that situation, if I found myself in the same situation again, I probably would have recognized it even faster.
Uh-huh.
Maybe we didn't get to the 25th hour. Maybe it was, early in the morning, the day the P&S was supposed to be signed, and I say, hey, let's pause.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's really good to recognize as well. So I love that we've kind of fleshed out why you do what you do, and what it is that you do. I think listeners are obviously kind of getting some clarity around Cutter Luxe Living is truly amazing high-end luxury. Maybe not in, I don't know about the type of houses you're working, but at least in the experience, that is what I am getting from you for sure. And so now I kind of want to talk about how, like, the unique things about you personally that make the process of working with you a little different. And off air, you had told me a really fascinating and powerful episode that had recently happened to you and your family, and how that now bleeds into the kind of conversations you're having with your clients. Can you tell me a little bit more, listeners, a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. And I'll just preface it by saying, we kind of started the show and I'm passionate about people finding a place, a home in this world. And unfortunately, my family and we suffered a devastating fire this past July in Hingham, Massachusetts. So it was a home that we had recently moved into. In fact, I had spent 3 nights in the home. My daughter had never spent a single night, and my son and husband maybe an extra one or two because he played basketball in the town in the summer. And it was a total loss. Everything of the home was burnt to the ground, with the
Oh,
exception of the chimney. 124 firefighters responded. The miracle is that my son, my babysitter, and the painters who were working in our home got out safely. Not a
okay.
single firefighter was injured, minus one sunbird. But it was a 90+ degree day in July,
Okay.
and we were so, so lucky. Minimal damage to the surrounding homes. So by the time the firefighters arrived on site at my home, thankfully, everybody was out. But they recognized they would not be able to save the home. So they went into, saving the surrounding structures. So after that, we had some friends that set up a GoFundMe page for my husband and our family. And as beautiful a gesture as that was, we thankfully were not in a position where that money was personally needed. So we immediately started to think of what we could do for others. So we set up the Cut Fire Fund, which we got our 501(c)(3) status just within the last month.
Woo!
And
Gotta pause for a clap on that. That is
yeah, it was
amazing. I
really
didn't know that
exciting.
you
It's a
turned it into a
process.
nonprofit. That is amazing.
Yeah, no, we're super excited. And the point of the Cut Fire Fund is threefold. So first, to support and to give back to those first responders, because the men and women, they're putting their lives on the line for us and really everybody every single day. Second is to help families affected by fires. So if a family, to date, we've helped a lot of local families, but it doesn't have to be local. If a family has suffered from a fire and you have children and you're in need of clothing, toys, computers, comfort items, we're here to help. We want to help. And then finally, it is to educate about fire tips and preparedness. So hopefully, things, gosh, my daughter's favorite tip is to close before you doze. So that I don't know if you know this, and before my fire, I didn't. But if you close your door and you suffer from a house fire at night, um, you, your survival rate goes up 70%. And that's a
Oh.
really big number. There's some crazy simulations that show the difference. So really, really powerful tip there, close before you doze. And then even things like if you're selling a home or really at any time, take a look and just think, if my home suffered a loss, be it fire, flood, anything else, am I properly insured? Do I have the insurance that I'd want to rebuild?
Mhm.
So
Wow.
we're excited.
Yeah. You're like, "We're excited." I'm sitting here, like, with goosebumps and just the way that you were able to turn such a devastating, and I know there's been time, right? So, as of today, it's been about 6 months since that moment, it sounds like, and you've been able to just completely turn this into a positive. Is that your just natural nature? Is that time to heal and just turning this into that human connection moment that's so passionate for you? Or where does
Yeah.
that come from?
I mean, we pivoted pretty quickly. Within a week, we were shopping for 3 families in East Boston that had lost their homes in a triple decker to a house fire. And it moments like that helped my family. It really,
Mhm.
really did when we were going out and we were shopping for the children and my daughter was helping to organize the items. It made us realize how lucky and fortunate we are.
Yeah, for sure. So it's the Cut Fire Fund.
Correct.
And now, how does Cutter Lux Living incorporate that? Is there, and I know it's new, so I'm definitely putting you on the spot here, but is there a plan for how those two intertwine?
Yeah, and I mean, it's a fluid plan at this point, but I am donating a portion of my sales to the Cut Fire Fund.
Mm.
And we have a charity golf tournament that's planned in Hingham, the town where our fire was this fall, and that's coming up in June. So we're all super, super excited about that. And yeah,
Yeah.
starting locally, I think ultimately I'd love to reach out on a national level, even just in the realtor community.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's off air, we talked about so many tools that you, from this experience, you had also mentioned, so backing up my statement, you had mentioned that, with Compass, there's so much support, right? So much support that your team gets, and then also that you get to bestow upon the families that you're helping with. But also now with this experience you personally have this passion to put together guides and tools and tips and tricks, and even just the great ones you gave us a little bit ago. I don't think I'll ever think or miss the close before you doze. Like, that's stuck in my head now. But you're developing some of these tools. Are any of those available now, or what are your dreams for that?
Yeah, so to start, we have a website. It's thecutfirefund.com, and we will be continually updating it, providing tips, different videos, more to come.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. Well, to wrap up, I just want to make sure the listeners who have got to learn from you and hear a little bit about your story, if they're resonating with little bits of you, maybe it's they have a family who's been in a fire, or they're looking for a really great human connection realtor in their area to buy or sell. I want to just make sure they have a good sense of who you work with, what it is that you do, and then a really good way to start with you.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Haley Cutter with Cutter Luxe Living at Compass. Probably the best way to reach out is my social handle on Instagram, which is just Haley.Cutter. And uh, please follow me, especially we've got top 5 tips for buyers and sellers guides. We have trends of 2023. So oftentimes with us, it's just starting a conversation. You may not be in a position right now that you're looking to buy or sell, but uh, if you're on the fence about it and you think that maybe in the next year or so you would like to sell your home, there's plenty of tips available that we'd love to share.
Awesome. And we'll make sure that we have your website in the show notes so that it's an easy click for listeners to find.
Thank you.
And of course, from there, I would imagine they can click to your Instagram from the main page
All
of
of
your.
the above. Yep. We'll
Perfect.
give you one link, which will link to it all.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate your story and what you're doing with the Cut Fire Funds. I think that's amazing. And then, of course, what you're doing with Cutter Lex Living. I think that is beautiful.
Well, thank you so much. This was fun stuff. I had a great time.
Good. We finally got here. All right, guys, until next time. Steph here. Thank you so much for listening to the Passion on Purpose Leaders on Center Stage podcast. If you are a successful business owner and you lead your business with passion, we'd love to feature you on our show. We'd love to share with the world what makes your business great and how you have intentionally led passion throughout your business. Also, if you got any value or little tidbits from this episode, please take a minute to screenshot the episode and share it on your favorite social media platform. Be sure to tag us so we can properly thank you, and we love deepening our connection with our listeners. We are regularly putting out new episodes to feature leaders such as yourself who lead with passion on purpose. So be sure to subscribe to our show so you don't miss any future episodes. For more episodes, guest information, or details on the show, please visit getvim.com/passion on purpose. That's getvim.com/passion on purpose. Once again, I'm Steph. I am the owner and creative director at Vim, and thank you for listening to the show.